My fiancé disappeared before the wedding, leaving me a joke on my own. Months later, I saw her again. She was touching her pregnant belly. "Relax," she said, "you're the father." "You wanted the vasectomy," I reminded her. My parents needed a boy to carry on the family name. I tossed the wedding ring down the drain and walked away. Cindy was sure I'd come crawling back to her eventually. That changed when an heiress was spotted visiting the OBGYN with an average Joe. The heiress proudly announced, "Yes, we're having a baby." Cindy went crazy, causing a scene at the maternity center. She got the ring she fished out from the drain and begged me to marry her. When I arrived at the hotel suite, Cindy was cozied up to Vincent, looking so cute and small. One hand on her belly, the other held tight by her mom. Her face showed a mix of shyness and pride. Cindy saw me and her eyes narrowed for a moment. Then she acted like nothing happened. Vincent and Cindy's parents saw me too. Vincent hugged Cindy tighter, as if showing off. "Richard, come in and sit." Cindy's mom broke the silence, acting like nothing was up. I smirked, walked in, and stared at Cindy's small bump. "Wow, is this a dress rehearsal for future happy family dinners?" My fiancée, the woman I chased all my youth, vanished for months. Now she's pregnant with some dude's kid, inviting me for dinner with her parents present. Exciting stuff. Cindy frowned at my words, like I said something ridiculous, as if I was the one at fault. Her mom wasn't fazed though. "Richard," she said, "since you know, I won't hide it. In our family, heirs are a big deal. I know you and Cindy are engaged," she paused, "but if you can't have a son, well, I can't really let you in the family." Cindy sat silently, agreeing with her mom. After a moment, she said, "Don't worry, to the outside you'll be the dad. After all, we go way back." She knew I've loved her all these years. We were the school's golden couple, though she was the rich girl and I was just a poor kid. To be worthy of her, I worked nonstop, finally starting to build something stable before I dared to propose to give her a future. She hated using protection, said it was uncomfortable. I couldn't make her take the pill. I didn't want to hurt her health. So, I thought about it and chose a vasectomy after our first night together. She was upset then, forbidding it. I assured her that reversal was possible later, anytime she wanted to have kids after marriage. She promised under the stars she'd never betray me. But when everything got better and we were about to wed, she vanished. I turned the city upside down hunting for her. When I was close to madness, she returned with another man's baby, saying I'd be the father. The way she and her mom acted, it was like they were doing me a huge favor. Vincent's face showed envy and resentment momentarily. Then he returned to his gentle demeanor, joking with Cindy. I didn't accept their so-called kindness. "No need," I said coldly. I slipped off the engagement ring, tossed it, and it clanged on the floor, ringing sharply in the big room. Cindy looked at me in disbelief. "Richard, are you crazy? That's my mom's ring for you." Her mom's composed face finally cracked. She set down her teacup, annoyed. "Richard, is this how your parents taught you?" I met her eye and said, "Auntie, how my family raised me isn't your worry anymore. But about how you raised yours." I hadn't finished when Cindy cut in, slamming the table. "Richard, how dare you speak to my mom like that? The ring means nothing to you? Plenty would want it. Don't come begging me later." With rage, Cindy picked up the ring and slipped it onto Vincent's finger. Vincent was gleeful, holding her hand, tears in his eyes. Watching this mess unfold, I felt surprisingly calm. All those feelings seemed eroded by repeated disappointments. So I didn't kick up a fuss. I just turned and left. After leaving the hotel, I drove to an old haunt, the racetrack. As a kid, I dreamed of being a race car driver. People would say it was a meaningless hobby. Then family tragedy hit. I lost everything overnight. Cindy's call saved my life, and I fell hopelessly for her. Cindy, an only child, was expected to marry someone who'd join her family. It was a humbling demand for any guy. But I loved her. Without hesitation, I agreed. I believed love could overcome anything. Her father started to groom me. I progressed fast, thanks to my past experience. I remember Cindy saying racing was too dangerous. "You've got me now," she said, "we've got a future. Don't race, it's for your own good." Her words were sweet at the time, like gospel to me. I never raced again. I never held any aspirations outside loving her. Why bother now? I walked up to the front desk and booked the best performing car. A bald middle-aged man checked me out. "Kid, can you drive?" Without a word, I tossed a black card his way. In the garage, a red F4 race car stood waiting. I gripped the steering wheel, feeling a rush of excitement I hadn't felt in a long time. "It's been too long, my old friend." Without hesitating, I stepped on the gas, and the race car shot out of the garage. I barely noticed the gasps from the trackside. All my focus was on the track itself. Suddenly, another race car sped past me on the side, barely missing me. It was a silver F4, just as fast as mine. My heart raced and I felt more excited. I quickly adjusted the wheel, ready to compete. The silver car stayed right on my tail, our speeds tearing through the air. In the final lap, we were neck and neck, racing towards the finish line. The smell of fuel filled the air. It had been a while since I felt this alive. I took off my helmet and glanced at the silver car next to me. The driver also removed their helmet. When Wendy saw me, she raised an eyebrow. "Why aren't you following Cindy around like a lost puppy today? Enjoying some real thrills?" "Don't mention Cindy's name. It's disgusting." Wendy paused, then asked, "You finally found out?" "What do you mean?" I looked at her, confused, as she covered her mouth. I chuckled to myself. So, it turns out everyone knew about my situation except me. I unclenched my fist, exhaled, and looked at her. "Wanna go another lap?" Wendy shook her head. "You're not in the right state of mind for something this dangerous." She leaned in, resting her hand on my arm, whispered in my ear, "I know a nice hotel. Wanna take a different ride?" Even if I were clueless, I understood. Wendy smiled slyly, her tongue grazing my ear, sending shivers down my spine. "Afraid Cindy will find out?" Wendy was notoriously unapproachable. All the wannabe playboys in our circle learned that the hard way. There were even rumors about her preferences. Hearing her suggest this, I was taken aback. But she was determined. Sensing my hesitation, she pushed me into the car, secured my seatbelt, and with a roar of the engine, we were off to the hotel. On the way, Wendy drove even faster than on the track. At the hotel, as soon as we were in, she pinned me against the wall and started undoing my clothes. "Aren't we moving fast?" I murmured hoarsely. Seeing my hesitation, her eyes darkened. "Richard, shall we?" She laughed softly, with a hint of mischief, as she leaned in, her warm breath tickling my ear. "I'll take that as a yes." Her presence enveloped me as she kissed me, and just like that, I deepened the kiss. We tumbled onto the soft bed, with our senses blurring. But I could still feel her heavy breaths and pounding heartbeat. "Richard." She called my name, her voice trembling slightly. I guided her gently, leading her to peak after peak, realizing how well we fit together. We spent the whole night like a boat adrift at sea, sometimes gentle, sometimes stormy. We clung to each other like lifelines. In the morning, I awoke to find Wendy asleep in my arms. For a moment, I was disoriented. Then my phone rang. It was Cindy. "Don't forget today's auction. Get ready and come over." Cindy's voice was casual, as if yesterday's drama never happened. Funny she'd call now. Guess her fling wasn't suitable for public events, and she wants me by her side? I scoffed. "Cindy, have you forgotten I ended our engagement yesterday? We're done." But Cindy seemed unfazed about our breakup. "What's wrong with your voice? Were you drinking last night?" she questioned. And then, almost screaming, "Who are you with?" I hung up, amused, not bothering to answer. The other woman beside me, however, looked upset. She seemed to think I was rebounding with her out of spite for Cindy. "Why waste your time on that drama queen, Cindy? Really overthinking it." Wendy looked at me seriously, her long lashes fluttering. "All those years with Cindy, was it just because of family ties?" She was only half right. It was our youthful romance that sustained me, but that love had long faded. Sensing my silence, Wendy spoke again, speaking of alliances. "How about my family?" "Your family?" Wendy's words were a bit of a tease. Just her family's name spoke volumes. Before I could answer, Wendy pulled me up. "Where?" She smiled. "The auction." Outside the auction. Vincent clung to Cindy, clearly anxious about this event. I overheard Cindy's minion, Lily, ask, "Did your fiancé really end things?" Cindy's face darkened instantly. By her side, Vincent rolled his eyes at the mention of fiancé, clearly peeved. Lily quickly corrected herself. "No way. He's been head over heels for you, even playing the fool for attention. Without your family, he can't make ends meet." Cindy's expression softened a bit. Until she saw me. Her lips moved as if to speak but froze when she noticed Wendy holding my arm. She exploded. "Richard, you brought your mistress to flaunt in front of me?" Her voice was so loud, it turned heads all around. I noticed a fleeting smirk of schadenfreude in Vincent's eyes, quickly masked by a facade of concern. What a performance. I let out a cold laugh and stared straight into Cindy's eyes. "Cindy, we're already broken off. Who I'm with shouldn't matter to you, right?" Cindy was clearly taken aback, shocked by my firm stance, even more by the public declaration of our broken engagement, leaving no room for reconciliation. Then, she shifted her gaze to the woman on my arm. Upon recognizing Wendy's discolored face, she deflated instantly. Cindy had previously groveled her way into that elite circle. Still, she blustered, "Wendy, you're such an opportunistic little rat. I'll tell my mom and she'll complain to your family." Her pathetic, mama's boy act made me realize how blind I'd been before. Meanwhile, Vincent, seemingly oblivious about Wendy, stupidly joined in. "You know whose wrath you're inviting? You'll regret it." Wendy couldn't care less about him. She only focused on Cindy, her gaze turning icy. "Opportunistic? Anyone might say that to me, just not you, Cindy." Hearing this, Cindy gulped, as if hit where it hurt. I was left puzzled since Wendy and Cindy used to be close, until something drove them apart. Curious, I asked Wendy, "What do you mean by that?" Just then, the auction began, so we made our way in. Despite the cramped seating with Wendy and I alongside Cindy and Vincent in the front row, I ignored their hostile looks. The auction featured some rare treasures and skyrocketing prices, though none caught my interest until the final piece, a jade thumb ring from the Yongzheng era. Its royal allure captivated everyone. Starting bid, 5 million, the auctioneer announced. I noticed Vincent's eyes light up. Clasping Cindy's arm, he said, "Cindy, I love this ring. Imagine how grand our wedding would be with it." It seems Cindy's pregnancy gave him some leverage. Raised high in status by me before, Cindy played along, promptly bidding 5.5 million. I smirked. Cindy was really splurging on her lover, yet never spent such amounts on me. Over the years, I juggled multiple jobs to support her. Lost in thought, I was startled when Wendy suddenly bid 6 million. I'd never heard about her antique fancies. Turning her way, she just gave a casual shrug. Cindy's face fell as she shot Wendy a deadly look and upped it to 7 million. Wendy coolly countered, 8 million. The price spiraled, quickly exceeding 10 million. Sweat beaded on Cindy's forehead. She was out of her depth. 15 million, Wendy declared calmly. Cindy finally surrendered, dropping her hand in defeat, her face turning livid. Vincent's complexion was equally dismal. Wendy twisted the knife, waving the ring box smugly at them, saying, "Better luck next time." Cindy's face shifted colors, and Vincent's jaws tightened furiously. Wendy slid the box into her purse, feigning a tiny smirk. I wondered what she was really thinking. After the auction, we left without delay, only to be stopped by Cindy outside. "What now?" I asked, not bothering to hide my irritation. "Richard, you never used to be so cold," she whined. "What is it?" I pressed, having no desire for nostalgia. "Richard, when you threw away our engagement ring, I was actually bidding for this one for you today. But an ill-intent person snatched it," she said with earnest eyes, as if auditioning for a romantic role. Vincent heard and looked even sourer, as if he'd swallowed a fly, wanting to confront me but holding back because of Cindy. "Cindy, consistent in your narratives, haven't you?" Wendy interjected, her tone warning. Cindy wilted instantly and said nothing more. Wendy ignored her, leading me away with a firm grasp, hinting at possession. Surprisingly, she drove us straight to the airport. "Where are we going?" I asked. "To chase every dream," she replied. We ended up in England, where there were advanced racing facilities. Wendy continued accompanying me for training. Just as I was about to speed through a curve, an out-of-control car veered towards me from the side. My heart skipped a beat, reflexes too late. Richard. Wendy's voice exploded nearby. She accelerated unbelievably fast, maneuvering her car to shield me from the errant vehicle. In an instant, metal clashed, sending sparks flying. The impact sent my car skidding into a barrier. In all the chaos, my car finally steadied, and it was my rapid breathing that made me realize I was still alive. I quickly unfastened my seatbelt and staggered over to Wendy's car. The front of her car was badly crushed, and Wendy was slumped against her seat, looking pale with blood trickling down her forehead. Seeing her like that, tears welled up in my eyes uncontrollably. "Wendy, are you okay?" I shouted with a trembling voice, fumbling to open the car door. Wendy strained to lift her head, and when she saw I was all right, she gave a faint smile. She slowly reached out her hand and handed me a ring box. "Don't lose the ring," she said. My heart clenched. Even in this life and death moment, Wendy was still clutching that ring box tightly. I opened it, and when I saw the jade ring inside, I couldn't hold back my tears any longer. Wendy weakly lifted her hand and gently wiped the tears from the corners of my eyes. Then she slipped the ring onto my finger. This time I didn't hesitate. At the hospital, Wendy had a fractured left hand, but she wasn't in any life-threatening danger. I just had a few scratches. But Wendy still insisted that I get a full checkup. While waiting for the results, I got a call from Cindy. "Hello." She started off with a condescending tone. "I know you're just with Wendy to spite me, but I don't care. By the way, where have you been lately? Why haven't I seen you around?" I was speechless. First, don't call me hello. Second, where I go is none of your business. Cindy, there's nothing between us anymore. Please stop bothering me. Cindy, though, sounded amused, as if I was jealous. "Oh, come on. Are you upset because I introduced someone to my parents? Seriously, you're just overreacting. You've met my folks plenty of times. Why would you throw a fit over something trivial? If you want to meet my parents so much, how about when you come back, we throw a welcome party for you as a family? How does that sound?" I laughed in anger. "Cindy, if you're sick, get help. Honestly, even a gold miner couldn't dig up pure craziness like yours." Cindy was finally starting to see I wasn't going to put up with her anymore. She snapped, "Richard, really? I'm giving you an out, and you still act like this. Fine. I'm the crazy one here. But I'm telling you, this is your last chance. Miss it, and you'll never set foot in my house again. And no amount of begging will change that. Better not regret it. Haha, your house's door? Whoever wants to, can go in." I hung up immediately. At that moment, the checkup results came back. I saw the report, and my hands shook so badly I almost dropped it. It read, "For weeks pregnant. Wendy's pregnant." I looked up in shock, my mind blank, like fireworks exploding in my head, buzzing. I haven't had my reversal surgery yet, and it still happened. I instinctively looked at Wendy. She was more excited than I was, her eyes filled with joy and disbelief. Ignoring her broken arm, she ran into my arms, twirling around like a kid. Her excitement rubbed off on me, and I couldn't help but smile and lift her up. In the days that followed, we cleared as much work as we could and stayed by each other's side 24/7. Even though we were in the UK, with her family's influence, we still got spotted by the paparazzi. It blew up on social media. Soon after the news broke, Cindy started calling me non-stop, almost like she was crazy. Her tone was no longer arrogant. "Richard, where are you? I miss you. Can I come see you?" God. I was so angry I felt the baby kick against my ear as it rested against Wendy's belly. I had no patience left to deal with her nonsense, so I hung up and blocked her. But she was like a pest. She kept calling with different numbers. I had to turn off my phone. Finally, peace and quiet. Not long after, Cindy announced she had a son. Her friends commented on her post. "Cindy, did you change partners? Though you've always been wild and secret, the only one you've openly admitted to was Richard, right? Cindy, as a sister, let me advise you. Keep those kinds of guys just for fun. Don't bring them into the limelight. It's not classy. Sis, are you and your husband really done? If there's a chance, just swallow your pride and win him back. Men are usually soft-hearted deep down. A little coaxing and they'll be right back with you. Cindy couldn't be bothered to hide it anymore and replied to the last comment. Win him back? Do you think I'm short of a boyfriend? Meanwhile, her parents couldn't stop boasting about finally having a grandson. Seeing them, I just felt like I'd been blind before. But honestly, I couldn't care less about their foolish drama. Just watched it for entertainment. A few months later, our daughter Cindy was born. She was so delicate and beautiful. Like a mini-me. Wendy's eyes were teary as she held her baby girl gently, not wanting to let go. Then, with my approval, she announced on social media, yes, we have a child. She posted a photo of us together, the jade ring prominently on my hand. Turns out, with all the rumors flying before, she hadn't responded because she was waiting for me. Wendy's post lit up with comments. Truth or dare? Wow, after all these years, the rich heiress finally found love, and it's a big announcement right off the bat. I knew Richard was the dad. When I saw the paparazzi photos, I thought it looked like him. Congratulations. Turning a secret crush into reality after all these years. Wow, skipping all the steps straight to having a baby? Wendy simply replied, thank you all for your good wishes. Meanwhile, at the bar, it was a wild scene. Cindy sat in silence, downing drink after drink. Cindy and Wendy announced it with Cindy's brother-in-law. Lily, the tag-along, spoke cautiously, watching Cindy's expression. Cindy snapped her head up, her eyes dark and her face looking furious. It's okay, sis, you didn't like him anyway. Noticing Cindy's face, Lily tried to backtrack. If you don't want to die, shut your mouth. Cindy kicked over the table in front of her, sending glass and drinks flying everywhere. Lily shrank back in fear, not daring to say another word, and quietly started to clean up the mess. Cindy, I know you spread the rumor about having a son with Vincent to get at your brother-in-law. Lily spoke softly, but has he contacted you in all this time? He's even got a kid with someone else. Hearing that, Cindy smashed her glass on the floor with a bang and held her head in pain. Just then, Carrie, who never got along with Cindy, decided to push her buttons further. I heard you were fooling around and had an illegitimate child, so your fiancé ran off with someone else. Cindy jumped up, anger fueling her every move, and charged at Carrie, swinging her fists. Carrie sidestepped easily, dodging Cindy's attack, then punched her right in the face, sending Cindy to the ground. But you started it, Carrie mocked. After that, Cindy endured a flurry of punches on her face. The bar's patrons watched, but no one dared to intervene. Once cocky, Cindy now seemed like a broken-down dog. Leaving the bar, Cindy lost it completely. She staggered her way to the maternity center. The alcohol dulled her senses but also made her finally confront her feelings. She barged into the center's entrance, stopped by the security. I'm Richard's fiancé. Let me in, she shouted. The security looked at her like she was crazy. But Cindy, eyes red with desperation, shoved past them and burst into my room. Richard, she said when she saw me, voice trembling, I got beaten up. Aren't you going to do anything? Like before. Can you put some pain relief on me and kiss me? She pleaded with her eyes. I stared at her coldly, my gaze flat and unfeeling. Is it because I had a kid with someone else? She screamed hysterically when I didn't react. Are you just trying to spite me by having one too? I almost laughed in disbelief, enunciating each word. Cindy, this is my final warning. We're done. If you keep bothering me, I'll call the cops. At that, Wendy walked in from outside. Cindy completely lost it, pointing and cursing Wendy. Wendy, you homewrecker. Wendy just raised an eyebrow and smirked, then calmly had Cindy kicked out. After the maternity leave, Wendy took me home. The moment we got to the bedroom, she pushed me up against the door. Her breath was hot by my ear, voice hushed and teasing. Richard, I've missed you. Feeling her body change, my cheeks flushed, and I protested gently, stop it, Cindy's still sleeping. But she only held me tighter, her voice a low whisper, then be quiet. With the moonlight streaming through the unpulled curtains, it cast our shadows entwined. The next morning, Wendy wasn't in the room when I woke up. As I got up, I noticed the handwriting on her desk, that familiar script. Finally, I remembered the letter I got from the police the year I tried to end it all. The elegant handwriting, full of emotion and detail. A letter that saved me. It was from Wendy. But if I remember right, Cindy had given me that letter. Recalling how Cindy and Wendy used to be close, only to become enemies later, it hit me. Cindy had passed off Wendy's letter as her own. Youthful infatuations, turns out they were misdirected. A sudden knock pulled me from my thoughts. Peeking through the peephole, it was Cindy, sticking around like glue. I hesitated but opened the door anyway. "Richard, I figured it out," Cindy pleaded urgently. "We can just raise our kids together." I laughed. "Cindy, are you serious? Still haven't had your head examined?" "Richard, I was wrong before. I really know that now. Please give me another chance," she begged. "Leave. We're done," I said coldly. Seeing the love bites on my neck, Cindy's eyes filled with rage. "You too." She wanted to say more, but my icy stare shut her up. I thought she'd give up. But the next morning, she was still outside the villa. Her face swollen, she stood motionless like a statue. Guess she spent the night out there. I didn't feel a thing, just closed the curtains, not wanting to look at her. Later I got a call from Lily. "Hey brother-in-law, how's it going?" Her voice was awkward. "What's up? And stop calling me brother-in-law," I replied, not wanting any ties with Cindy's posse. "Well, Cindy said Vincent messed up things between you two. He's gone now," Lily said, raising her voice as if I couldn't hear. I chuckled lightly, as if Vincent was her only squeeze. Was she trying to guilt-trip me with love talk? "Do you have anything else to say? If not, I'm hanging up," I said coldly, clearly uninterested in whatever was going on with Cindy. Cindy got detained. Lily's voice suddenly became quieter. "Oh, that's interesting. She tried to break up with Vincent, claiming the kid wasn't his. Vincent refused to leave and demanded a share of the property." Lily paused like she was choosing her words carefully. "Then Cindy took him for a paternity test, and turns out the kid really isn't his." Vincent got furious and fought with Cindy. "Remember when you got Cindy into taekwondo? Vincent almost got beaten to death and had to call the cops. That's how Cindy ended up getting taken away. Back in the day, there were some shady characters lurking around school. I was worried about Cindy's safety, so I got her into taekwondo for a year. Never thought she'd use those skills on her own lover. Life has a weird sense of humor. So whose kid is it?" My curiosity got the better of me. "No idea, but at least it's Cindy's." The thought almost made me laugh out loud. Playing the game so hard, she couldn't even figure out who the father was. I thought people got involved with genuine intentions. I hung up, feeling oddly amused. I had really moved on. But that sense of satisfaction didn't last long. A few days later, Cindy showed up at my doorstep, looking completely worn out. "Richard, I know I messed up. Please don't leave me." Her eyes were red, her face as pale as a sheet. I looked at her with annoyance. The once proud little peacock was now as pathetic as a homeless dog. But what did that have to do with me? I treated her like air and shut the door. Wendy and I had the wedding of the century. Pure white roses covered the entire estate. All our friends and family came to witness our happiest day. She walked down the aisle in a white gown towards me. Sunlight filtered through the trees, casting a golden glow around her like a descending goddess. In that moment I saw only her and she saw only me. "Wendy, will you marry me? Through poverty or wealth, sickness or health? Will you love and cherish me until death parts us?" My voice was a bit shaky, though it was subtle. "I will." She didn't hesitate. We exchanged rings and vows. Thunderous applause and fireworks lit up the sky. My married life was simple, free, and happy. But I knew I couldn't always hide in someone else's light. I had dreams of my own. I continued my racing career. Wendy supported me unconditionally, both financially and emotionally. I began training intensely, day in and day out. Wendy was always there, quietly supporting me. She attended every race I competed in, celebrating my successes and encouraging me after losses. Meanwhile, there was always that other unwelcomed presence at my races, which I completely ignored. Eventually, I became the world's first Asian F4 racing champion. Standing on the podium, holding the trophy, Wendy's smiling face filled my mind. I knew this was just the beginning. My goal was the stars and the sea. My story was just getting started.